Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Kerry Stevenson. Now, I've asked Rita Brooks to come and have a conversation with us today. Rita is the exec chairman of Tambura Metals. That's the ASX code is TMB. They are over in Western Australia. They have got, in fact, they listed in 2021 with just over 20 projects in the Tambura Goldfields in Western Australia. They've also got the Briar Basin and the Chilla project. But big focus on gold. And my friend Terry Topping has recently joined the company, so I'll get very interested in that. Plus, there's an entitlement offer going on at the moment. So I've said to Rita, please come on to the channel and let's have a chat. First time with us, Rita. Thanks so much for your time and for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Rita, because it's the first time, can you just give our audience a brief background? Who are Tambura Metals?
Tambura Metals was listed in 2021 from projects put in, and our flagship was Tambura Goldfield. We consolidated that goldfield, and we had some ground at Julimar North, which we did a joint venture with SQM. And at the moment, our focus is again to the gold. We're still drilling out that gold. We'll be going drilling next week if all the permits and the weather's good. And we'll be back at the Tambura King drilling for diamond drilling, where we had announced at 1 metre at 77 grams, which was our drilling in 2024 in September. We reported that, but we've also got two other projects that remain undrilled of the 20 prospects that we have. So each of the prospects were over 1 ounce a tonne, mined in 1890s. We've only drilled up to 5 of them at the moment. So we've got a long way to go, but the results have been quite high-grade gold.
Rita, while I'm thinking about this, can you just tell us a little bit about your background as well? Like, tell us what your experience is and why you are a good person to lead Tambura.
I put the projects in. I've always prospected when I went to live in Kalgoorlie and worked in small mining prospecting work and looking for ground, doing the historical data, which I love, going through the old maps. And when I found the Tambura mines that were available and applied for that ground, I was able to go into the library and call up the notes from 1910 and the reports and find the individual tonnage. So that's how I can say that those gold GML records were still intact. So yeah, it's a very exciting project because it remains not just something, but they could only drill or they could only mine where they could follow the quartz. Right. But when we're drilling, we get down to 110 meters, and we're still getting 1.5 grams, which was of no interest or value to the old timers. But these days, people mine 1 gram a tonne.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I know that there's an entitlement offer, which I think closes next week. Yes. I really want to find out what that's all about, why you're doing it, how much, and the terms around that, if you like.
We raised money with a broker in order to accelerate our drill programs. We offered a percentage or an entitlement offer to the shareholders at the same time so that they could also participate. It was a 2 cent offer with a 4 cent option. And so at the moment, we're only trading under the radar, if you like, because of that entitlement offer at 2 cents. And once that closes, I think you'll see a re-rating in we've only still got 130 million shares on offer at 2 cents. We're very, yeah.
And I'm sure you've put some skin in the game as well. So you're very much in line with shareholders.
Not just that, it was the shares that I got initially for putting the projects in. So and I'm happy to participate in all the raisings because I can see where we're heading, and hopefully we're looking towards getting a resource at Tambura and follow that up.
Okay, in very simple terms, talk to us about the strategy. You just said, I can see where we're heading. Now, people watching this will go, righto, well, where are you heading? In other words, what I'm looking for is where is the value going to come in for shareholders going forward? It's been, I'll be honest with you, it's been a little bit flat for Tambora for a little while now. So what I want to get at an angle on, if you like, or a focus on is where is that value add as we go into the second half of 25?
I think what happens when you're working in the field, you can't be reporting results until they've back from the lab. So the lag time is usually 6 to 8 weeks minimum. And as a result, for the last 3 months, we've done a bulk sample at Tambina because we're looking at processing work there that they could not use. There was sulfides, so the prospectors who were mining there couldn't access that. That just sits to the north of our Tambora. Tambora, we're going back drilling next week, and we've got an EIS grant for $180,000 towards that drilling. So we're utilising that for diamond drilling, diamond tails. And those results, once we're in the field drilling, are usually that lag time, they'll start to come in 4 to 4 weeks. But in the meantime, we just finished drilling last week at Beatty Park. We completed that program of air core drilling, following up on 5 metres at 22 grams.
Oh.
And that was drilled in the 1990s when gold was less than $500. So Beatty Park sits an hour north of Meekatharra, and that whole region is a hotspot at the moment for finding new gold ounces in historical areas. So the Beatty Park project was abandoned in the 1990s, even with grades of 5 metres at 22 grams.
Why was it abandoned? Is that when the gold price was like $500 or something? No,
Yes,
we're
it was
talking
less.
5,000.
Yes, and now it's 5,000. So the value and raising money in the early 90s, and the companies that had those projects went on to other things, or they joint ventured, or they didn't proceed. So having that historical data has led us to be able to define and go back. We've been in the field and actually found the old drill holes. So we're pleased to report on those in probably 14 days.
Okay. I mentioned at the start, and look, I'm jumping around a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, because I really want to, excuse the pun, drill down and figure out where this value is going to come from. But I just want to make mention of Terry Topping, who I've known for many years, really good guy. He's recently joined. What's his role, and why are you pretty chuffed that he's on board?
Terry's worked in the Pilbara extensively. I've known Terry before when he was working down in Nanatara with the Bennett Channel for uranium. And then he has been more recently, he was Kairos. And Kairos, he left there with 1 million ounces of gold defined. And that was just to the north, basically less than an hour away from where Tambora is. He knows the region. He knows how to go about defining a resource and developing that.
Okay, let's go back to drilling. You mentioned Beatty Park, an hour
Yes.
north of Meekatharra.
Mm.
Is that the one that you're going to be focused on in this current drill program?
No, our flagship is Tambora,
Okay.
and we're getting results from Beatty Park, results from Tambina in the next couple of weeks. We also have been in Speewah, which is antimony and silver, high-grade silver, 300 grams a tonne from rock chip sampling historically. We've gone back and identified that antimony silver project areas, and we're at those locations, and they adjoin the Sumitomo, who've just adjoined Tivan, and that's 110 kilometres south of the Kimberley. So the Kimberley, we work in the middle of the year. You can't work at the end of the year. So in the next few weeks, we'll have results from Speewah, looking at that antimony silver and high copper in some instances. But like that's an early stage development. But Tambora is our advanced gold project. And again, this will be the 4th drill program that we're doing. And we've got some government assistance in the form of an exploration grant. So that really will accelerate and allow us to do RC with diamond tails. So drilling diamond, we get the core and we give half to the department. But we'll be going back to Tambora King, because that's where we're following up the 1 ounce at 77 grams. 1 metre, sorry, at 77 grams. We're
Wow.
drilling Alexandra, which is nearby. It's less than 200 metres. So we've got a strike length there of over 300 metres, and the area is 1 kilometre with over 20 prospects in it.
All right. So there's a bit going on there, but where do you see that Tambora, because you said Tambora is fairly advanced. So
Yes,
unpack that for us.
because this will be our third drill program directly at the Tambora King, which was high grade, several areas and lines of gold mineralisation. And so we would anticipate, and we're looking to try and develop a resource of 20,000 ounces. So one of the issues for Tambora prior to its consolidation is that it was too small. 20,000 ounces is a small target, but if you have 30 prospects, each with 10,000 ounces, that changes the game.
That's a really good point, actually, and I hadn't looked at it that way. So in the past, this has all been sort of separate little. So have you?
Yes.
So have you spent the past little while, I guess, flying a little bit under the radar, because you were saying, until I can bring all this together as like a district, if you like, a whole area, that's when it gets interesting. How difficult was it to do that?
Well, I've been working there since 2012. So
Wow.
we listed in 2021. So I did do some drilling as a private prospector as well. And so that information was used to develop the prospects that we have now. So we've applied for a mining lease. We're in the process of developing that resource. So that's why I say, yes, we have been flying under the radar.
That mining lease, you've applied for it. What's the
Yes.
next steps?
We'll do the environmental, which is a 6-monthly environmental scheduling.
Yep.
And that will happen at the end of the year. We'll start that.
So you're expecting the lease to come through early next year?
End of next year or beginning of the following. And mining lease, you've got to have every 6 months you do the environmental analysis.
Okay. So this, again, I keep harping back on it, I know. The pulling together of this area, do you think that has been, what's the word I'm looking for? A really important step, I guess, into ensuring that Tambora Metals is going to have value going forward? Was that an important thing for you to do? Because before it was like a little bit here and a little bit there.
Yes, the follow-up drilling and the next round of drilling to arrive at a resource, because anything we mine we'll be able to process, because within 80 kilometres there's 2 mills. And so in order to define a resource, if you define 20,000 ounces today at 5,000, above 5,000 Australian, that's a company maker for a junior like us, so that we can pay our way and extend and grow our resource, but also we can utilise the existing processing facilities, because you can truck high-grade dirt 80 kilometres. We don't have to go to the cost of a mill for processing.
So the strategy for you is get some gold out of the ground.
Yes.
For processing 80 kilometres up the road. Get the funds from that doré to allow you to expand and do more exploration and drilling. Would that be it in a summary?
Yes, because it's working as a small junior explorer, being able to pay our way would be one of our fundamental sort of plans.
I think it'd be pretty happy times for shareholders as well, because it's always difficult, isn't it? Because you just said before, 130 million shares on issue at the moment, which means, and you've been listed since 2021.
Yes.
That to me means that you've been a good custodian of the shares. You haven't been just raising money for the sake of raising money and diluting shareholders. Is that important for you, Rita?
Yes, I'm the major shareholder, so one of the major shareholders. So it's important to actually have a return on your investment, and that's what all shareholders want. And I'm a shareholder. So as we accelerate and work towards drilling, and of course I'm a gold bug, So I'm very happy at this point in time to have good gold projects.
Talk to us big picture, Rita, because you just said that you're a gold bug. I'm not sure I like that terminology, because then that terminology would be me as well. We love gold because gold is money and everything else is credit and has risk associated with it.
Security.
What do you see as the bigger picture for gold at the moment? Like, not focused just on Tambura, but I'd like your view on where we're going in the gold markets these days.
At the moment, I don't think the upside in the extensive gold price, I don't think it's actually even factored in a lot of the global uncertainty and the global economics that are going on. But I think the main thing was also that there's a lot more upside in the gold price. We've actually accepted that the people that are coming in, the juniors, haven't even been recognised for the value that they have. And I think that's another round of investment opportunity, especially when people are feeling fearful about property, about taxes, and they want some investment security. I think gold is actually becoming more of a safe haven.
Why do you think that there's that disconnect between the physical metal and companies like yourselves, the explorers, the developers, even the producers? It just seems to be a bit of a disconnect at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's not just to do with marketing. I think it's also to do with how a lot of people have been not sure about making their own investments, and so the gold traded funds have taken a lot of that, and so there hasn't been a lot of room so therefore the junior explorers have to find their own way, if you like, because they're too small for these funds. So we're a niche market, we're under the radar, but the opportunity is there for growth.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to get you on the program today. So let's try, and I'm going to ask you for 3 reasons people should sit up and take notice, but not yet. What I want to know right now is, you've mentioned Speewah and a couple of other projects. So just, if you could tell us, is most of the focus going to be on Tambura and getting those 20,000 ounces up, so that you've got that doré to sell and to self-fund, I guess? Talk to us about what the levels are, where you're going to go, how the strategy is going to go for them, and the news flow for the rest of 25.
The news flow for 25 will also include the antimony and silver, because it's just too attractive. And it's also, it doesn't cost us any money. Tambura has the opportunity to have any projects. From my experience, if we see some ground available, we'll apply for it. We don't buy projects, we do joint venture them. We get funding back from joint ventures, and so we work with other partners in order to accelerate a lot of our projects. So that was with the SQM. We had an agreement to spend up to $1.5 million on the ground. They exited after they'd spent $950,000, but it's money we didn't have to actually spend. So we're astute in that regard in seeking partners, and we diversify with our projects, because we'd rather have 50% of an operation than 100% of something that we can't drill because we can't afford it. So when we focus on our drilling, we go back to where we know we're going to get a good return and a safe investment for our shareholders. And the opportunity with Speewah is that antimony, that supply has been closed off from China. The US has no producing antimony, and it's needed for several reasons, and including ballistics and missiles, and you cannot replace that. So the antimony price has gone. When I first started looking at antimony, it was 30,000, and it's over 65,000 now. So that's a very, very attractive investment. And likewise, silver, if I've got 300 grams of silver, I'm paying a lot more than I was 3 years ago.
100%. And also the gold to silver ratio is very wide these days, ladies and gentlemen. If you go back to the 70s, it was more like 20. Right now, it's closer to 100. So that means that silver is going to play a little bit of catch up. All right, Rita, first time we've been having a chat. I think that there's a lot of news flow to go. And as I said at the start, there's an entitlement issue that closes off next week. That is helpful for shareholders. Have a look at their website, Tambura Metals. But I want to know if you could tell us 3 reasons that you think people should sit up and take notice of TMB right now.
Well, first, we're in the right place and the right time, and we're in West Australia where we can proceed to mining. We don't have expensive impediments. We're pro-mining in Western Australia.
Oh, she just likes to dig the knife into us East Coasters, ladies and gentlemen. All forgiven, Rita. Okay, East Coast versus West. Yep.
Number 2,
Yep.
we're in gold, and gold is a very attractive commodity, but it's long lasting. We were drilling for gold in 2022, but the price was only $1,800 an ounce US. It's over 3,000 US now. So the commodities increased. So any of our results are doubled, in my opinion, as well.
Okay.
So number 3, we are deeply undervalued because the potential for us to find a resource and accelerate mining and development process ore and not have to build a mill with 2 mills within 80 kilometres that we have the opportunity to possibly use. So that will give it, that's a very attractive ingredient to finding gold. You can find a lot of gold, but if you can't mine it and process it, it isn't worth anything. And we've got Beatty Park and we've got Tambora, both very exciting projects with high-grade gold.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Very good point there. You can have all the gold in the world, but if it's a stranded asset, middle of nowhere, if you can't process it and you can't make doré from it, how are you going to make money? Very good comment from Rita there. And I'm going to throw a 4th reason in. My friend Terry Topping, really good appointment there, Rita, and I look forward to what you two are going to be doing in the near future. It's an area he knows really well. So thanks for joining me on Making Money Matter today.
Look forward to bringing you our next news. Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for your time.
Good to see you.